Okay, good day, champions. This is Noble Mike Jamison. I'm actually very excited today to have an opportunity to share with you one of my favorite topics. Um, this is, again, something that I learned many moons ago. And anytime I get a chance to share with the audience, it makes me excited because learning these things in in any network marketing business will make a tremendous amount of difference in your journey from being a part-time entrepreneur, being a part-time business owner, to a full-time entrepreneur, to a full-time business owner. So today's Game Time podcast is titled "The 5 Skills You Must Master in Order to Be a Professional in Network Marketing." Okay. These are the 5 skills that you must master in order to be a professional in network marketing. And again, it doesn't matter which company you're part of. It doesn't matter whether your company offers a product or offers a service or a combination of those. It doesn't matter. There are 5 finite skills that you must master to be an effective network marketer. Okay. And in today's podcast, I want to talk to you about those things. So this one may be a little bit longer than normal, and that's okay, because I think it's more important that you get the content that I'm going to share with you today, more so than really worried about the length of it and someone's attention span. And so I'm going to go through these in detail. Okay, so the 5 skills that you must master to be a professional network marketer. Now, when I say master, I'm not saying someone that is that's trying to be a part-timer. Okay, these are the things that you absolutely positively must know. Okay, must know. Okay, and it's not a whole lot. There are 5 things. Okay, so number 1, I want you to write this down in your notes. The very first skill you must master, and these are in order. Okay, I'm giving them to you in order, meaning the order in which you must master them. Now, keep in mind, some of you are going to already have some of these skills in your toolbox, which is fine. Okay, that means you're ahead of the curve. But if you're like me, in the very beginning of my professional journey into network marketing, I didn't have any of these skills. So I'm speaking to you as a person who came to the table with none of these. And I had to learn these things before I could really get traction in my business. Okay. So the very first skill you must master in network marketing is learn to make a sale. Write that down in your notes. Learn to make a sale. It's the very fundamentals of what we do. Our job as marketers is to transfer our belief to someone else, right? To get them to believe that our product, that our service is going to bring some value to their life. So the ability to make a sale is the fundamental skill that you have to learn. Because if there's no sales coming into your business, product, or service, it doesn't matter, then there's no revenue being generated. Okay. And you can't have profits without revenue, because profits are only generated when you have revenue minus expenses equals profits. So if you can't make a sale, if you haven't learned to make a sale, then there's no revenue. So the very first skill you must learn to do is learn to make a sale, which means, write this down in your notes, you must be a product of the product. You must know your product in and out. You must know what makes it valuable. You must know the things that it does extremely well. You must know the things that it may not do so well. But you must be a master in your product, at least understanding your product. Okay? Because when your product is lined up against the competitors that are in your space, you must be able to tell the difference to a consumer, a potential consumer, why they should buy what you have. And if you don't know your product and you don't know your service like the back of your hand, you will not have the ability to do that. You will not have the ability to do that. So learning to make a sale is the beginning. So every time you sit in a presentation, every time you sit in a training, every time you listen to a Zoom, if you haven't learned to make a sale as of yet, then the notes you take should be leading you towards that direction. You should be listening to the guest speaker, the host, as they give value on that product or service, and writing it down so you can adopt it as your own, and maybe turn around and use it, those value points, as you start to tell your story, right? But the main thing is that you have to learn the value points. What makes it special? Why is it different? How is it going to change lives? Okay. You have to learn to sell the product. All right. And because, the majority of the people that are in network marketing are part-time, when you learn this one skill alone, if this is all that you learn, learning to make a sale will pay great spare time income. Write that down. So the first skill that you learn is how to make a sale, how to sell your product, how to sell your service. And in doing so, it will pay great part-time income. Okay. Great part-time income. So every affiliate, every distributor that joins your network, right, that joins your social entrepreneur network, your objective is to master the first skill if they're going to be on the marketing side, right? A lot of companies, okay, due to legal reasons, you have the ability to be a customer only. Now, if you're going to be a customer only, then this doesn't apply. But we're talking about the 5 skills to master to be a professional network marketer. There's no such thing as a professional network marketer that doesn't know how to sell their product or service. That person doesn't exist. Okay, that person does not exist. All right, so it pays great spare time income. All right, so when you learn to sell, skill number 1, it pays great part-time income. I'm sorry, great spare time income, not part-time, great spare time income. Okay, when I say spare time income, that just simply means if you are working overtime on your traditional job, because of the spare time income that you're making from your new home-based business, the income that you're making can now eliminate the overtime that you were working on your job, right? Because you were working overtime just to get a little extra added to your check. So you're working your normal hours, and then you're working your overtime hours. So those extra overtime, that extra 5 hours, that extra 10 hours of overtime that you were putting in per week, so that 45, 50 hour week window, you're not going to get that back. You're going to grab those 5 hours back out of your week. You're going to grab those 10 hours back out of your week. And now this spare time income that you're generating in your business is going to offset that money that you were making in overtime. Okay, this is the power of our industry, because typically the time that it takes to generate that spare time income it might be equivalent to that 5 or 10 hours that you put in overtime. But now, instead of going into the office or instead of going into the building, you're able to do that from home. You see that? So in the beginning, there may not be a huge trade-off in terms of time, because most of the time you may be new to the industry, you may be new to sales, and so therefore there's going to be a learning curve. So in the beginning, it may not look like you're having success because you're earning an extra $50, You're earning an extra $100, but that's the same $50. That's the same $100 that you were earning with the overtime. So now that you get rid of the 5 to 10 hours that it took you to go into the office to earn the extra $50, $100, $200, now you're earning it with your spare time, and it's still coming in at $50, $100, $200. Okay, but now you're doing it from the crib. You're doing it from the house. Okay, so to the outsiders, the haters are gonna look like you're not having success because you're not changing vehicles, right? Your zip code didn't necessarily change because you started your business 6 months ago, right? It didn't change because you went to your first conference or your first 2 conferences in your first year in your business. It didn't change that much. But what they don't know is that you're no longer working the overtime. See, they can't see that. They can't see that. Okay. And that's why the first skill is so important, because it complements and offsets what you would have done working the overtime. So it pays great spare time income. Learning to make a sale pays great spare time income. Right. So the first thing is, how do we grab that extra 5 hours back? How do we grab that extra 10 hours back of your life and put that towards building your future, which is in your network marketing business? That's what we do at number one. But if you come into your business, you come into your company and you never learn to sell, you don't get that back. Now it looks like you're wasting time to your loved ones. It looks like you're wasting time to your spouse because you're not working as much in overtime on the job, because you do have your part-time business, but you never learned to make the sales, so the extra money's not coming in, and there's a shortage. So your loved ones look like you're playing. It looks like you're playing around. You know what I mean? So the first thing you have to do is you got to learn to make the sale. So therefore, you understand that this is your business. You're serious about this. You're not playing. You're serious about it. Okay, you know exactly how to sell your product. You know exactly how to sell your service. No questions asked. And you know why you're the best. And you know why you're the best. Okay, it's critical. This is a critical part. And that's why it's number one. These are in order. These are in order. So in order for you to make it worth your family's while, right, those sacrifices that you're making, you have to make sure that the first skill that you master is how to sell your product or service, period. It's the beginning. It doesn't matter if you got a huge network online or offline. If you don't know how to sell the product or service, if you don't know how to paint the picture of value, write that down. If you don't know how to paint the picture of value, you're not going to make any money. You're not going to make any money. Now, keep in mind, we all understand the laws of duplication, how if your mouth is moving, you should be pointing at something and using third-party tools. That part I get, okay? That part I get. But understand this. You must absolutely, positively know how to transfer your belief in what you have into them, and letting them know that what you have is what they want. What you have solves the problem that they have, right? That's selling, right? That's selling. You're fulfilling a need. And part of learning to sell is doing more listening than you do talking. Part of learning to sell is doing more listening than you do talking, which is why you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Because what happens is that if you do more listening than you do talking, then a person will tell you what their needs are, right? Because you're asking questions. Write this down. The person who's asking questions is in control. In any conversation, the person who's asking questions is in control, because they can dictate and narrate the conversation as they so choose. So the person who's asking questions is in control. Okay. So therefore, you should be doing more listening than you are talking, because you're asking questions. You're trying to figure out where their pain points are, right? you do that in the early, even before you start your presentation. That's what, getting to the meeting early is all about. That's what the small talk is all about. That's what the extra dialogue is all about, because what you're doing is you're grabbing and you're listening for pain points that only your service can fill. And you feel those throughout the course of your presentation. There's a science to it. Listen to what I'm saying. The reason you get to meetings early, the reason you jump on Zooms early, the reason you create small talk about family, small talk about work, small talk about motivation, is that you're listening and you're grabbing for pain points. Now, they don't know that's what you're doing when you're having a conversation, right? You are authentically interested in what they have to say, for sure. But there is a reason why you're interested in what they have to say, is because you're listening for pain points. And in your presentation, you're going to plug each of those pain points with your product or service that you're delivering. So there's no doubt that at the end, when you make them an offer to join, right? When you make them an offer to buy, that they're going to say yes, because everything that they told you was a pain point, you solved in your presentation. You follow? Which is why you do more listening than you do talking. Learning to make the sale is critical. All right. So in your journey, the first thing you have to do is master this skill. It's a skill. Now, you may have some great training in your company about selling, and you may not. Okay. And that's okay. And so this is part of your personal development. Part of your personal development journey isn't necessarily, hey, I got my blinders on and I'm not listening to this person, I'm not listening to that person. No, that's not what it's all about. It may be, hey, listen, I know that I got to master this first skill. Maybe I take some training nuggets from, the Game Time podcast on some things I need to learn to master. Maybe I take some training nuggets from this person that I went to a seminar on learning to sell. Maybe I paid for online seminar training on learning to sell, but I know I got to get this first skill down. So when you log into your back office, maybe you're on the leaderboard for the month because you got 5 sales, right? It doesn't mean you're at the top of the leaderboard, but you're on the leaderboard, right? You have a score up there. That's okay. Okay, you have a score up there because you got 5 sales, you got 10 sales, you're heading in that right direction. Remember, the goal is that it's going to make great spare time income. You're not quitting your job because you know how to make a sale, but you're grabbing those 5 hours back and you're grabbing those 10 hours back that you were working overtime for. Missing my water. That you were working overtime for. Okay, so skill number 1 is learn to make a sale. That may take you some time because you have to take that knowledge that you gain. We'll call it learned knowledge. Write that down. You got to take that learned knowledge that you get in the training room, from the Zoom, from the seminar, and you got to put it into action to know if it really works. Right? You got to put it into what we call activity knowledge. So you're going to take the learned knowledge, that personal development part, that learned knowledge of learning to make a sale that you've gathered in your notebook from your trainings with your company, from the Zooms, from everything that you've done to master the skill. You're going to take that learned knowledge and you're going to put it into practice with the activity knowledge. Now you got to go see if it works, right? And you got to fine tune it, okay? Because you're going to have to make adjustments because, again, what you learn in the classroom doesn't necessarily translate to exactly how it works in the field. So there may be some adjustments you have to make along the way, but it's the activity knowledge, right, that's going to let you know how the rubber meets the road and exactly what you're doing, okay? And at that point, this is important. At that point in the activity knowledge phase where you're sitting down with a client for coffee, okay, to make the sales presentation, where you jump in on a one-on-one Zoom with a prospect to make that sales presentation, you're going to establish a ratio. you're going to establish a ratio, a success ratio, meaning out of every 10 appointments that you do, there's going to be a number of people that's going to enroll from that. That's going to be your ratio. So in the beginning, maybe you sit down with 10 people and you do your sales presentation, right? Because you're focused on this first skill, and maybe one person joins on the spot. No problem. Maybe one person joins. That means you got a 10% success ratio. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a start. Maybe you sit down with 10 people and 2 people join. That means you have a 20% success ratio. And maybe that's what your first 30 days may look like, or your first 60 days may look like. Then you get to that 90 day, that 30 day, that 3-month mark, and you talk to your next 10 prospects, and maybe 3 people are enrolling right now. Out of 10 presentations, 3 people say yes. Your success ratio is 30%. Now, it doesn't sound like rock star numbers, but in baseball, if you're batting 300, you're in the Hall of Fame or pretty close to it. Meaning if you go up to bat and you hit the ball 3 out of 10 times that you're at bat in baseball, you got a good argument for the Hall of Fame. Okay? Our business is similar to baseball. You go up to bat to do a sales presentation 10 times, and you get 3 out of 10 to say, yes, I'll buy what you have. Yes, I see value in what you're offering. Right? That great spare time income is going to grab those 5 hours, going to grab those 10 hours back to your life. And you may not be headed towards the Hall of Fame in baseball, but your family will absolutely love you. You're going to be a superhero in your household because of that. Okay. So skill number 2. Let's talk about skill number 2. So skill number 1, you got to learn to make a sale. It's going to pay great spare time income when you master the first skill. Okay. And that's all on you. It has nothing to do with my downline didn't do this. My downline didn't do that. Nobody's returning my call. No. The first skill has nothing to do with a downline, has nothing to do with the organization. It's all on you. So in the beginning of your business, whether you're product or services, it doesn't matter. If you're not making money in the beginning, it's because you don't know how to make a sale. And that's the first skill. No matter, the team has nothing to do with it. Can't blame this on the team. It has nothing to do with the team. You're the team. You're the first person on the team. And if you're making $0, then that's your problem that you have to solve. That's your fault. You got to solve that immediately. You got to solve that immediately. Okay? Great spare time income with the first skill. Number 2, the second skill you must master in network marketing is you have to learn to recruit. Write that down. The second skill that you must master in network marketing, if you're going to be a professional in this space, you must learn to recruit. And when you learn to recruit, it pays great spare time income. This is important. Notice the difference. When you learn the first skill, it paid great spare time income. When you learn to recruit, number 2, it pays great part-time income. Number 1 pays great spare time income. Number 2 pays great part-time income. Spare time, part-time. What do I mean by that? When I say learning the second skill, how to recruit, pays great part-time income, what I mean is that if you were that person that was working 2 jobs because you're focusing on making ends meet, you're doing the absolute best you can, and you don't mind working hard, now that you've mastered the second skill in your home-based business, it can pay great part-time income, and you can get rid of the second job. So that extra 15 to 20 hours that you committed to that second job, you cannot grab that 15 hours back. You cannot grab that 20 hours back to your life because you've mastered the second skill. And the second skill is how to recruit. How do I get someone not only to say yes, that we have an amazing product or service, which is number one, but to say, yes, I want to do what you do. That's the second skill, recruiting. And the reason why the second skill is so important and it actually pays great spare time income is because people are saying yes to you twice. They're saying, yes, I'm going to be a product of the product, just like you are, right? With the service or product. And they're saying, yes, I want to do what you do. They're saying yes twice. Okay. And because you have that double buy-in, that yes twice, okay, what happens is now that they are joining your team as an affiliate, as a marketer, as an ambassador, you're now able to leverage their efforts towards the first skill, not towards the second skill. You're able to leverage their efforts towards the first skill, because the first skill that they're going to learn is how to make a sale. And that sale, that line of business with that one person is going to pay you, for all intents and purposes, is going to pay you an override or in royalty, a commission for them learning the first skill. Because now there's you who know the first skill and the second skill. You're making spare time income with your first skill efforts. You're making part-time income with your second skill efforts. And your new business partner is making great spare time income with their first skill efforts. And their spare time income becomes a part of yours to some degree. You're now leveraging their effort. So now in that same week, you grab what your time, those 15 to 20 hours back that you were putting in that second job, you get those hours back, because now your first recruit, they're putting in 5 to 10 hours and you're helping them master the first skill. So you don't need to leave the house to go to the second job anymore. You're spending that same time from the crib, leveraging the 5 to 10 hours that the same person is putting in to their business, mastering the first skill. Now those hours go there. It's powerful. This is extremely powerful. So now that you've mastered the second skill, you're now getting paid for your hours and theirs. That's why you can grab the 15 hours back. That's why you can grab the 20 hours back from that part-time job, right? J-O-B, just over broke. J-O-B, just over broke. That's what they keep you. They keep you just over broke so you can keep going. That's how it happens. You know how it is. The job pays you just enough so you don't quit. And you do just enough work so they don't fire you. Happens all the time. I'm losing my voice, by the way. So now you're getting paid for your hours towards skill number one and skill number two in the business. And you're getting paid from the hours that your new team member is committing towards skill number one. So that 5 hours that they're committing to master skill number one, they're getting paid and you're getting paid as well. It's amazing. The second skill will pay great part-time income, because what happens, yes, you may have been working an extra 15 to 20 hours on that second job, and you brought in 3 to 4 people that said yes twice. Yes to the service. Yes, they want to be an ambassador. Yes, they want to be an affiliate. Yes, they want to be a distributor. They said yes twice. 3 to 4 people said yes twice to you. Now, each of them are committed to 5 hours on mastering the first skill, which is how to make a sale. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20, right? So the same 15 to 20 hours you were given to the second job, you now give to just the social entrepreneur network that you're now building. And as they master that first skill, because you're going to teach them, the first thing they got to do is learn to make a sale, man. Right? As they master that skill, you're going to get an override for that. Okay? You're going to get paid for that in the same time frame. This is why it's so powerful. So at first, the first 30 days, it was you. Maybe the first 60 days, it was you. Now you up to your 90-day mark. It's no longer you, man. It's you plus 3. It's you plus 4. So now in a week's time, yeah, you putting in your 10 hours a week, your 15 to 20 hours a week to your business, and they're putting in their 5 to 10 hours a week. So you're getting paid on the low end, 5, 10, 15, 20 extra hours that you don't have to put in. This is why the second skill pays great part-time income, because you're leveraging time of other people. That's what the partnership is all about. You're going to spend your time teaching them. They're going to spend their time learning, because they're getting something out of it too. They're getting something out of it too. It's amazing. Okay, so let's recap. There's 5 skills you're going to master. We've only covered the first 2. Skill number 1, you're going to learn to make a sale. Whether it takes you 30 days, 60 days, 90 days to master it, that's your first objective, because it's going to pay great spare time income. Number 2, you're going to learn how to recruit, because it pays great part-time income. And in each of these steps will give you the ability to grab those hours back of your life that you were committed towards the overtime. In the case of making a sale, that you were committed towards the second job. When it comes to learning to recruit, you're going to grab those hours back to your life. And those are the first 2 skills that we want to talk to you about today.